Good morning. All right, today we're just going to touch bases on what you should be doing for week one. All right, for week one, the graded work for week one include discussion 2, which is modeling with functions. This is where you should be at today, at least, just to have so that people will have a chance to respond to you before Sunday midnight. You should have your initial post at least by today. And then you want to have at least 2 sufficient replies. Sufficient replies, what does that mean? Well, let's look at what it does not mean, okay? So what are examples of non-sufficient supplies? For example, your response to a post, my answer is 81. Why is that not sufficient? Well, you want to include, okay, if you got your answers 81, no one sees how you got to 81. So in order to give you feedback or comment on it, show your work. So to make that sufficient, show your work, okay? That's supporting how you got your answer, okay? And explain, you can tell what you did, show your work and tell what you did to get to your answer, okay? But if you're showing all your work, then people can see, okay, you divide it, you multiply, you subtract it. They can see all of that, okay? Another example of what's not sufficient is saying, great post, this helped me with the homework. Okay, that's not really sufficient, okay? You have more than one sentence, but it's not sufficient. What was great about the post? Be specific. Okay, include your details. All right, what was great about the post? What did it help you do in the homework? Okay, that kind of thing. And then ask questions. You might have questions. That keeps the discussion going. All right, so make sure that in your discussion for number 2, because the introduction does not count. It's not graded. All right, so for your discussion, this week's discussion, the graded discussion, make sure you have an initial post, and then you should have at least 2 sufficient replies, and you should do well in all of your discussions, okay? And so basically, if you just have an initial post with no replies, then the highest grade you'll probably get is a 65, and we don't want to see that, okay? Everyone should do well in the discussion. Answer the post to the best of your knowledge, support it with references, and then reply to at least 2 other people. I also graded for week 1 is the homework sets 1 and 2, and this is in the Math Excel program. You have unlimited attempts at homework. Okay, so meaning that if you miss a problem, okay, and so even with the problem, they'll give you more than one chance for most of them to get the answer correct. But if you do get it wrong, you can click on similar exercise to get a new problem, right? So once you have practice, and this is graded also, so that gives you more practice before you take your quiz 1. Quiz 1 is on both sets, okay? And so you get practice, so you can see it, and then you have your actual. So you have 2 attempts, okay? Even though you use one as a practice, what happens when I pull up the quiz, it just shows me the highest quiz grade. Okay. All right. So now let's look at the discussion. Okay, so here for the modeling with functions, okay, note that the function notation, let me put this on the, all right, so note that the function notation, it just represents your y value, okay? So if you have the f of x, y of x, t of x, etc., h of x, c of x, okay? They are a function of x, okay? So they're dependent on the x value, right? So represent y, okay? In terms of your xy point, put it like that, okay? So for this example, we have, suppose you did not have unlimited text messaging and had to choose between two text messaging plans. The strategy is to see which plan costs less. Let's say company A charges a monthly fee of $20 with a charge of 3 cents per text message. All right, so if I have company C, so I have f of x here, okay? And I don't have to use f of x. Notice that I kind of use f of x for both of them, but I don't have to. I can distinguish between the two, okay? I could have put c of x and t of x, which would have probably been better. But anyway, so you have, this is in relationship to a linear function, okay? And if you remember from the algebra, the slope y-intercept form, the y equals mx plus b, all right? So this is your, this is your fixed amount, actually. All right, and this is your marginal. Okay, varies with depending on x. All right, for each x, all right, the cost will go up. All right, so if you have a monthly fee of $20, okay, with a charge of 3 cents per text message. So this is in relationship to 1 month. All right, so for 1 month, we're not looking at the whole year. So for 1 month, all right, the fixed amount is $20. Okay, so the B is 20, but it's going to vary depending on how many text messages were sent. So it's 3 cents per text message, right? So X represents the number of text messages. And so you want to make sure you identify what your X variable represents. Okay, so this is why I have the function f of x is equal to 20 plus 0.03x. And then company T charges a monthly fee of $10 with a charge of 10 cents per text message. And this is basically the references from your book. And so the function is f of x is equal to 10 plus 0.10x, so I could have just put 0.1x. Okay, and again, I didn't have to put another f of x. I could have put t of x. You can change the functions. You don't have to put the same. Okay, but they both represent y. All right, so basically once you have did research to collect, find a scenario that creates a function that you can model with a function, then you give us what those functions are, tell us how you got to those functions. Basically, what is your x value? What does your x represent? So we need to know that. And then you want to ask questions in reference to your functions. We can analyze the two functions to see which deal is better, which plan incurs more cost, which plan is best for you, what x value makes the two functions equal, etc. So you can ask whatever questions that's pertaining to your functions. Okay. And again, once you've done your initial post, then you'll go under 2 other threads and make sufficient replies. Okay, good. The homework is in the Math Excel. So if you do www.mathexcel.com, that takes you, and you sign in, that takes you to the homework. well, to the page where you're going to click on homework and tests. And so for week one, everything is shown for the whole term. Okay, so you can work ahead in the Math Excel, but just be careful because the attendance. Okay, attendance. You need to have 2 days of attendance per week, at least 2 days of attendance per week. Okay, so if you are in the discussion board, on the graded discussion board, and posting two times a week, you get attendance for those 2 days. Okay, so that gives you your attendance, and then I have to go in, and if you don't have attendance, because it automatically populates your attendance if you're in the discussion, but in reference to the Math Excel, it does not. I have to go in. If you don't have attendance for the week, I have to see if you've done any work for the week to give you credit. So for week 1 is this portion right here. Okay. All right. So this is week 1. So you have homework set 1 on chapter 1, which is the graphs. Homework set 2, it's on the systems of equations. That's chapters 7 and 8. And then you have a quiz that's on chapters 1, 7, and 8. Okay, and so you have 2 attempts on each quiz. So you see the setup is mostly the same each week, except for week 5, you only have 1 homework set. Good. And so basically, homework set 1, you have 14 questions, and I do give you a video in reference to doing homework problems in homework set 1 and homework set 2. You have 11 questions, and I do give you some videos on systems of equations. They're in the announcement page. We'll look and see that. All right, so there are 11 questions. Again, you have unlimited per question, okay, for the homework, not for the quiz, okay, just for the homework. So if we go to, you're looking at your announcements, okay, so the announcements talks about the attendance. Hopefully you can see this, how to avoid plagiarism. You don't just copy and paste, put it in your own words, and support with your references. And this will help you also with your project, because there is a project in this class, and it's broken up into 3 parts, where next week you'll just give me what your topic will be, and your variables, your 2 quantitative variables, and what you hypothesize about the relationship between those 2 variables. Okay, then you get to work to collecting your data, and talk about your topic, graphing, and talk about the relationship and see what kind of relationship is formed. Then you come up with you derive your mathematical formula, nonlinear formula in this case, okay, to use to make predictions. And most of the nonlinear equation that you'll be dealing with are either be exponential, logarithm, parabola, etc. Okay, so, and you'll know how to, you'll learn how to find an exponential equation or parabolic equation function. All right, so you have your textbook. I tell you, how to locate your textbook, the APA format. I also give you some videos that I didn't post in the main page on homework help for week 1. That's on the functions. And this is on the systems of equations. This is also on systems of equations, the substitution method, and I talk about the attendance. So I think that's, yeah. So if we go back to the home page, assignments, and so here, week 1, This is the course project here, and it tells you this is worth 20% of your grade. Again, this is part A. So it's broken up into parts. So you're not doing a whole project in 1 week. You know, you're starting with A. I'll give you comments on, you know, or questions. Make sure you're going on the right path. And then B is the chunk of it. B is the most important part. That's when you're collecting your data. You're giving a description, detailed descriptions in the method of collection. Okay. So, and then C is everything put together, plus A and B put together, plus your deriving your mathematical function and then making predictions and giving you your conclusion about your project. And I'll post a sample project. And you have 4 quizzes. Now your post-test, let me just talk about this. You don't have a post-test is just your final exam, okay? This is just your final exam. And this is in Math Excel. You'll have practice attempts, as many as you want, and then you have an actual exam, okay? Okay, so post-test is just your final exam, and that's in Math Excel. I think I've covered everything to help you get started. So if you have any questions, please let me know. Okay, I'll be happy to help you. All right, have a good day.